Hey everyone, happy Sunday. Today is my actual birthday. Celebrating actually 37 is the real year. It's been a good trip so far. I just wanted to touch base with you and kind of fill you in. This one is a little bit more of a awareness talk type thing, a little bit of a vulnerability moment for me. And I don't know if you guys care or not, but I do think that it's something that is pretty important to discuss and maybe have some knowledge about, whether you're dealing with it on your own or if you know somebody who is. So I have extremely severe anxiety, and it's something that I have had for the last several of years, and I'm not an expert on anxiety by any means, and I'm not saying that you should follow anything that I'm saying or not. And I know that one of the things that triggers anxiety is something that has happened traumatic in your life. I have had several very traumatic experiences throughout my years, especially my, late teens into my adult years, that have, I guess, significantly impacted my anxiety. I feel like for the most part, I have it fairly under control. And I try to be very careful on the medication that I take. It is a very addictive medication. So it's one of those things that I'm very conscious about, and I try to really limit anytime I actually need it. And I have done counseling and therapy and done exercises and learned different ways to manage. Well, last night I met my son for dinner and a movie. I can't remember the name of the movie that we went and saw, but it was about the Manhattan Project. And Copenheimer, I think is what it was called. Really great movie. And everything was going perfectly fine. And then all of a sudden, I wasn't good. And I don't know why. I have no indication of what changed, what happened. It is an extremely long movie. And I don't know if it was that I had been in the theater for so long. It's also a very intense and very loud movie. So I don't know if that triggered me and some of the past experiences that I've had. I can kind of go into some of that later on. I do have a different talk that I want to go over further in the future, but just not necessarily right now. But I was sitting there the last 45 minutes of this movie just fighting this panic attack, and I had left my medication at my Airbnb because I'm calm and I don't need it, and I know better. I know better to always have it with me. And I didn't. And so then I started going what I call down the rabbit hole. And I started panicking even more in my head. And all I can think was, don't let my son see me panicking. And then I started thinking about all the other people around me. And I was like, oh my gosh, if they see me panicking. I don't know if you've experienced anxiety, but it almost feels like I haven't had a heart attack. So I can't say that that's what it feels like. But in your head and in the moment, that's kind of how it feels. And then you start questioning everything. What if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? And then you start really like trickling down the hole. And then not having my rescue, which is my meds that should be in my purse, but I chose to not bring my purse. And I didn't want to carry a big bag in, and I thought, oh, I'm fine. I'm super not stressed. I'm happy I'm here. And again, I have no idea where this came from. And typically I can feel them coming on, and I know, to take it so that it doesn't get that bad. Where last night it got really bad. Thankfully, my son didn't notice, and I used my breathing exercises and my mental exercises that I've received from counseling to help me get through the moment. I also reached out to a lot of friends, and on my way home, I made it home or back to the Airbnb safely. But I had people on the phone with me talking me through to make sure that I can just mentally stay conscious and get back to my room. And as soon as I got back in, I ended up having to take 2 of my anxiety pills. I try to not take, if it's coming on, I may take a half of a pill, but I try to never get to that point. And I was extremely embarrassed and super disappointed in myself for letting myself down and knowing that I should have had that with me to not panic. I was also very frustrated that I don't really know why. Normally I know a trigger, or I can remove myself from a trigger, and I didn't know what was going on or why it was going on when I was supposed to be really enjoying my evening with my son. And all I could think about was, I got to get him out of here. He's got a long drive home. I can't let him see me this way. I can't panic in front of everyone. Everyone's going to freak out. I got to get back to my room. And the more I thought about that, the longer the movie seemed to go. And I don't even really remember the end of the movie. I remember the outcome, but that's really about it. And all I could think was, I am so glad this is over, and I'm so glad he's on his way home. And I was very frustrated that I felt that way, because I just wanted him away from me so that he didn't see me get upset or me panic. Obviously, I did a decent job with my exercises where he didn't see that. I had a really good friend of mine actually congratulate me, even though this sounds like a not so great situation. She did tell me that she was very proud of me because I clearly handled it and used the techniques that I needed in order to get through that and to get back to the room and get my medication safely. The downside of that is that once you get that far, it becomes really difficult to come back from. So, taking the 2 medications and then going to bed last night, I woke up super groggy, and obviously still had a little bit of that pressure and that tightness on my chest. And so I did take a half a pill this morning, and then I just took another one, and I'm about to go and try to rest it off. And hopefully tomorrow I'm back up and going. And I don't know. It's really frustrating. It's a very difficult thing to deal with and not necessarily understand. And I find that the people that don't have to deal with it really don't understand. I think it's something that if you know somebody with anxiety, I would say do some research on it so that maybe you can kind of understand them a little bit better. Because a lot of people are like, oh, well, just stop thinking about that. Unfortunately, that's not how anxiety works in your brain. And I can't just stop thinking about it. One thing leads to the next, leads to the next, leads to the next. That's why I call it the rabbit hole. And I'm very fortunate that the people that I have around me, surrounding me, friendships, relationships, all of them, everybody is very understanding and has looked into it. And they understand that I can't just shut that off. But I originally, when I found out that that's what everything was going on with me several years ago, it was really difficult because nobody understood, and you kind of feel crazy and you just want to shut it off, and you're like, I can't. So I'm doing good today. I did go to the beach this morning. I went again super early, fairly hot down here today, so I wanted to be conscious of the heat, and I didn't want to put myself, number one, in a situation of heat stroke, and I also didn't want to put myself in a situation where I was too far away from the Airbnb if I needed to get out, whatever. I did take my medication with me today, and I'm good, and I am going to go and rest. Not exactly how I expected to spend my birthday, but tonight I'm meeting my son again for dinner, so I feel like I'm just gonna cool down, get some rest, and revamp and go from there. Again, don't really know if you guys care about this information. I think it's just more of like a PSA. I just wanted to maybe bring some awareness to it if you have somebody in your life that could use a little help with that. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I am going to go and cool down and shower up and make myself a little bit better looking, and go see him and enjoy the rest of my night. I'll talk with you guys soon. I'll keep you posted. Thanks. Bye.